Ole Miss going to LSU, 7:30 Eastern, ABC, Death Valley. Death Valley at night. I mentioned 7:30 Eastern. That's massively important. All right, Ole Miss is favored by 3.5 on the road. LSU's off a bye here. We should make sure we note that. They got a full week to get healthy. Sounds like Caden Durham's ready to go. The running back that's been a phenom for them as a freshman out there in Baton Rouge. This game should be treated like a playoff game if you're an LSU fan. Should be a playoff atmosphere. Should bring playoff level juice. Why? Because you got one loss. You still got to play Bama. You still have a lot left in front of you. You drop this game to Ole Miss, you don't feel great about your chances to play in the postseason. All right? You're at home, defend home turf is what I think the messaging would be internally at LSU. College football sickos, we appreciate y'all being subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. We got tons of predictions like this one. We got reactions. We got analysis. All that involving the greatest sport on the face of planet Earth. Talking about it the way that you want it talked about happens right here. Happens every single day. We appreciate you being subscribed. The Hard Count is brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Daily fantasy, easy to play, easy to withdraw what you win. If you want to fade us on here, be our guest. You want to follow us here, even better. $5 in lineups when you play, and you use code HARDCOUNT at prizepicks.com. Gets you $50 in promo funds. Again, code HARDCOUNT, $5. Put a lineup together just for playing. You get $50 in promo funds to squeeze the juice out of college football season. Back to the prediction. Now for Ole Miss, man, LSU remembers this game. LSU remembers your team and your fans storming the field after you beat them last year. We talk a lot about Ole Miss, and Ole Miss talks a lot about their professional mindset. That's what you keep hearing. Hey, pro mindset, hashtag pro mindset, be a pro. That's what Ole Miss has really kind of built their culture on. If you want to have a professional mindset, this is going to be the best test we've seen for Ole Miss to this point in that regard because of all the things surrounding this game. Last year's game, the energy around the playoff kind of atmosphere we just spoke to, the fact that LSU had a full week to prepare for this one, the fact that Death Valley will be on fire, the fact that Ole Miss, quite frankly, did not play their best football 2 weeks ago and got beat. Collect yourself. Can you go into a hostile environment and find a way to win? What's going to decide this game for me is Ole Miss and their vertical passing game, man. They're averaging 11 yards a pass is Ole Miss. That's number 3 in America. Now, LSU, they have been improved a little bit defensively with that new defensive staff out there. They're still allowing over 8 yards a pass. That's 106th in America. Ole Miss, I believe, lost the Kentucky game because those deep shots that they usually connect on, the Kentucky DBs just made some great plays. Like, I don't know what to call. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to call it. Like, that was the difference in the game, was the fact that the Kentucky DBs were disruptive enough to keep those, what are typically the fireworks, the backbreaker kind of plays, those weren't there. So for LSU now, I think the trick in being successful in that regard, can you get to Jackson Dart? Because Kentucky did, and they got him 4 different times on the ground. LSU has a top 5 sack rate, all right? 10.8%. Can you wreak havoc and force Jackson Dart to have that shot clock sped up a little bit and force him out of his comfort zone? And maybe even to put it more simply, like, can you just keep him from having the time to push it downfield? Because if you get beat and it's from Ole Miss having a 12-play drive and they're just checking it down all the way across the field, like, you don't love that, but I think you can live with that a little bit easier than explosive play after explosive play and Ole Miss is striking up the band. That would be what you do not want to do. A big reason why Kentucky won that football game, I keep going back to the Kentucky game because I think it's a blueprint for LSU to win this football game. Ole Miss's rhythm was massively disrupted. They were 1 for 10 on third down against Kentucky. Going back to what we said, rushing the passer is going to be vital in this football game if you're LSU. So what I think we'll see here, Ole Miss offensively, I expect a lot of movement pre-snap. It's just who Lane Kffin is. They've had a lot of success with it throughout the course of this season and really since he's been there. But more specifically now, South Carolina with that design quarterback run game, that jet sweep across, that quarterback up the gut, whether it was a zone blocking scheme or a power blocking scheme, they had a lot of success with that with Lenora Sellers against LSU. I think we could see a little bit more of Jackson Dart running the football in this game. They haven't had to utilize it too much just yet this season, and I don't know that Jackson Dart has the speed of a Lenora Sellers, but we know this. He's not afraid to run behind his pads, man. Like, that's who he is. He's very comfortable doing that. He told us he was recruited as a linebacker out of high school. That was his first look. Like, he is just fine lowering the shoulder. In a game like this, on the road, against in a rivalry game, in a playoff atmosphere, you might need some of that from your quarterback. This is kind of a by any means necessary kind of game if you're Ole Miss. So those might be the means that you need to get it by. For LSU, man, I think that we'll see them try and isolate their playmakers, which sounds simplistic, but I keep going back to how these teams have won and lost football games. Like, Ole Miss was beaten by Dane Key having a day against that secondary. And he had a day against that secondary because Kentucky did a great job getting him one-on-one matchups. The guy who needs to get one-on-one matchups in my mind here, and I think in everyone's mind, is Kyron Lacy. Okay? He is your best receiver. He's a one-on-one nightmare. If you can match him up one-on-one, Garrett Nussmeier, put it up for the big boy, let him go get it. Okay? I think also it's worth noting here, Aaron Anderson, just got a feeling about him in this game. He is a Swiss Army knife for them offensively. Just get him the football any way possible, but I think especially underneath, I think I like that matchup for LSU if they can get him the ball in space and allow him to cook. So Garrett Nussmeier got to be efficient. Can't give the football away, especially against that Ole Miss offense. Possessions will be crucial in this one and maximizing those. 7s, not 3s. I might just say this. Whoever's able to minimize field goals in the red zone, whoever's able to get 7 in those situations, probably winning the football game. Don't think that's necessarily a stretch. So is it harder to believe that LSU is able to keep score with Ole Miss, or that Ole Miss is able to protect Jackson Dart against that ferocious defensive line of LSU? I'm going to go ahead and say that the cracks we've seen from LSU, being tied with UCLA at half, quite frankly, being on the ropes against South Carolina, I think that was real. I think if Lenora Sellers stays in that football game, I think LSU probably loses that game. So I'm going to say that Ole Miss wins this one. Hostile environment, big plays early, kind of tone the crowd down a little bit. I'll take Ole Miss to win this football game 28-21. So Lane Kiffin and company now recapturing momentum. Like them to win, like them to cover in Death Valley, and I think that kind of starts their playoff ascent back up, if you will. Hey, this Saturday, or I guess this Sunday, there's going to be a Whataburger truck at the Titans game. So for all my folks in Nashville, this is for y'all. Get dialed in. There's going to be a food truck there from the good folks at Whataburger. We'll be there doing some content, and they're serving y'all some fresh, ready-to-eat, made-to-order, 100% fresh food served hot 24/7 from Whataburger, one of the easiest wins you're going to get all season. Again, that is this Sunday for the Titans-Colts game in Nashville. So dial in for that. Be a lot of fun. Again, we'll be there in person doing some content. Not sure what just yet, but excited to see y'all there, and we'll enjoy the game together. All right? So we appreciate y'all being dialed in. Appreciate Whataburger bringing y'all the hard count today. All right, again, that is this Sunday, October 13th. Looking forward to seeing y'all at the Whataburger truck.